Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So today our lesson is about business concepts. This is Unit 1, Lesson 2. Okay Puta, so as you can see in this presentation, there are 10 basic business concepts that we are going to discuss today. Needs, wants, demand, market, product, production process, transactions, satisfaction, exchange, and about values. So we are going to discuss about these basic business concepts in detail. First, we are going to discuss about needs. What are needs? Needs are the basic requirements. Needs are the mental and physical requirements that are very much essential for our survival. For an example, it can be air, food, water, shelter, clothing, safety, love, esteem, self-expression. All these belongs to need, as you can see in the diagram. And these needs are being created naturally. They are not being created by the businessman. Keeping that in mind, let's move into the second business concept, which is wants. Wants are the various ways by which we like to fulfill our needs. Wants are created by businessmen. So you all know that there are the various ways in which we can fulfill our needs. For an example, if your need is food, you can fulfill it in various ways. Either you can eat rice and curry which is being prepared by your mother, or else you can go for Burger King and have a burger, or you can go to the Pizza Hut and have a pizza. So there are several ways in which you can fulfill them. They are known as wants. All right, so considering about needs and wants, this is very much essential for us to learn. This is known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is being constructed by Abraham Maslow. So there are 5 levels here. The first level is Pute, physiological needs. Physiological needs are the basic needs which are very much essential for the humans to survive. Okay, these are also known as biological requirements for human survival. For an example, the air, food, drink, shelter, clothing, all these comes under physiological needs. If these needs are not satisfied, the human body cannot function optimally. And also Maslow has considered physiological needs the most important, as all the other needs become secondary until these needs are met. And if someone cannot fulfill their physiological needs, then they cannot move into the second level of this pyramid, which is safety needs. If a human being can fulfill physiological needs fully, they can move into the safety needs. Now let's see what these safety needs means. Once an individual's physiological needs are satisfied, the need for security and safety becomes salient. People want to experience order, predictability, and control in their lives. These needs can be fulfilled by family and society. For an example, emotional security, financial security, law and order, freedom from fear, social stability, property, health, and well-being. All these belongs to safety needs. So once you fulfill physiological needs, you can move into safety needs, and once you fully fulfill safety needs, you can move into the third level of this pyramid, which is love and belonging. The third level of human needs, which is love and belonging, we also call them as social needs. This involves the feeling of belongingness. The need for interpersonal relationships motivates behavior. I can give examples for this love and belonging. The examples are friendship, trust, acceptance, receiving and giving affection and love, affiliating and being part of a group such as family, friends, or even in the workplace you're belonging to someone, means you satisfy that part of your need. So once you satisfy physiological needs, safety needs, and love and belonging needs fully, you can move into the fourth level of this pyramid, which is known as the esteem needs. These esteem needs are being classified into two categories by Maslow, that is, esteem for oneself, dignity, achievement, and mastery, independence of one's self. And secondly, the desire for reputation or respect from others, such as status and prestige. So, I'm repeating again, this esteem level can be divided into two categories, that is, esteem for one's dignity and the desire for reputation or respect from others. Maslow indicated that the need for respect or reputation is most important for children and adolescents and precedes real life, real self-esteem or dignity. So the teenagers and the youth and the children and the teenagers are very much in need of this esteem. They highly consider of esteem needs. Now no one would like to get scolded by their parents or by any adult, any elderly person. That is because you have a self-esteem. You consider yourself very much important, and you consider that it is some kind of uh, that brings you some kind of disgrace if someone scolds you. So that is known as self-esteem. Moving into self-actualization, this is the highest level in Maslow's hierarchy, and this can be referred to as the realization of a person's potential, self-fulfillment, seeking personal growth and peak experiences. Maslow describes this level as the desire to accomplish everything that one can do, to become the most that one can be. So, individuals may perceive or focus on this need very specifically. For example, one individual may have strong desire to become an ideal parent. In another, the desire may be expressed economically, academically, or any other ways. For example, it can be expressed creatively in paintings, pictures, or in inventions. So self-actualization is the highest level that one person can reach, and a person can reach to this level only if he can fulfill the physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging needs, self-esteem needs fully. So that is how he can reach that particular level in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is very much important, and they will definitely ask you a question in relation to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So you should be able to explain it properly. Keeping the things that we discussed up to now in mind, we'll be moving into the final part of needs and wants. That is the comparison between needs and wants. If we compare what needs and wants are, first let's see what are the basic comparisons that we can make between needs and wants. Okay, first one is needs are necessities or essentials, whereas wants are desires. So you all know that needs are essentials because people cannot live without needs. But when it comes to wants, there are different ways. Wants means the various ways that we can fulfill our needs. So wants are desires and they are not essential. People can live without what they want. Fine. But needs are essential. People need to fulfill them for survival. Second one is needs. In needs are essential for survival, whereas wants are not essential for survival. Needs do not change over time, but wants change over time. You all know, for an example, We will feel hungry today, tomorrow, and even in the future. Even in the past we felt the same, but the ways that we satisfy ourselves change with the time. Fine. So wants keep on changing, but needs do not change. Then comes non-fulfillment can lead to adverse outcomes. If we do not fulfill these basic needs, then adverse outcomes will happen. For an example, if we didn't fulfill the need for food or need for shelter, what will happen? We will become sick. If we don't eat, we will be sick. Fine. So it brings out adverse outcomes. Whereas wants, non-fulfillment may result in mental distress. We will think, "Ayyo, I couldn't eat. I couldn't go for a burger. I didn't have money." Likewise, we will have mental distress. But that won't bring adverse outcomes. Fine. But it will disturb but us mentally, thinking, "Ayyo, I couldn't buy that frock. I couldn't go get a burger. I couldn't eat a pizza tonight. Ayyo, why can't I go in a BMW?" Likewise, we will get mentally distressed. Alright, then finally, all individuals have the same basic needs. Now, you also have the same basic needs. I also have the same basic needs. That is, we all need food, we all need air, we all need shelter, we all need education. But the way we want, uh, but the way we are trying to fulfill them is different to individual, is different from individual to individual. Fine. So wants may differ according to different individuals. So for an example, uh, I need food. I need food. I can eat anything, but you might specifically need pizza to fulfill your need for food. Fine. All right. So, if I summarize what we discussed today, we can needs are compulsory, needs are limited, needs are primary, needs are created naturally. So then wants are not compulsory, wants are unlimited, and wants are secondary, and they are being created by businessmen. So keep in mind the differences between needs and wants. Okay, now we are moving into this, that is fulfillment of needs. How can we fulfill needs? We can fulfill needs through self production, that is, you produce by yourself. Let's say you're cultivating. During COVID, what most of us did was we did gardening. We planted chili plants, tomatoes at our houses. So by self producing, we can satisfy our basic needs. Then also we can satisfy our basic needs through exchanging. You if let's say one person is catching fish, as you can see in this picture. There's a fisherman and there's a butcher who has meat. So these two parties can exchange what they have. So then also you can fulfill the needs. Also by begging, you can collect some money, and then you can uh, exchange that money and buy the goods that you want. Okay, then comes finally coercion. Coercion means you're committing a crime, or you're persuading someone to do something by using force or by threatening them. And then you're getting, or you're stealing their money, and then you're buying in order to fulfill your needs. Okay, then we are moving into the third basic business concept, which is demand. Demand means pute, how much of a product or service that someone intends to buy at all possible prices. The desire to buy and the ability and willingness to pay for it is effective demand. So if someone asks what is demand, what is effective demand? You should be able to say that it is a summation of the desire to buy the product and the ability and willingness to buy the product. Okay, so demand is always depending on two factors, that is ability to buy and the desire to buy. Okay, then we are moving into the fourth concept, which is market. All of you know what a market is, right? When we say the name, when we call out that particular name market, we always imagine a marketplace where people sell products and where the customers go and buy the products. But market can be of any form, where the buyers and sellers meet or get connected. It can happen physically, it can happen over the internet, over the phone even. Fine. So market can be classified physically or through an electronic system. Market can also be classified as consumer market, industrial market, service market. Consumer market means you're selling products for the consumers. Fine. It consists with consumer goods such as fish, cream, milk powder, mobile phones, the essentials which are needed by the consumers. Industrial market means the essentials which are needed for the factories, such as machines, robotics, and certain machinery parts which are needed for the factory purposes. Those. Service market means you're talking about something, some kind of a product which is related for services, such as services that are being given by the doctors, the services which are being given by a teacher. Those are known as service market. Then finally they are saying the market existed when buyers and sellers communicate in order to exchange goods and services. So market can happen digitally or physically. The only thing is that they should exchange products, they should exchange goods and services, and they should communicate. Fine. So that is a market. So market can there shouldn't only be a physical place is not the only way in which a market is being created. Market can be created even through the electronic systems. Keep that in mind. Okay, keeping that in mind, we are moving into the fifth concept, which is a product. Product is anything that can be offered to the market to satisfy the customer's needs and wants at a price. It's simple. Can keep that definition in your mind. So products can be classified into goods, services, events, person, places, properties, experiences, organization, information, ideas. So all these things are known as products. Product means anything that can be offered to the market to satisfy the customers' needs and wants at a price. Okay, so keeping that in mind, we are moving into the sixth concept, which is known as production process. This is very simple. Production means the process of creation of goods and services to satisfy human needs and wants. So simply, production process means the process of creating goods and services to satisfy human needs and wants. Y'all can see the production process in a picture. So it's a juice company's production process, juice factory's production process. You can see they are first plucking apple, and then they deliver it. Then through the machinery, all the products are being crushed, and all the apples are being crushed and they are being converted into juice, and they are finally being bottled and packed, and then they are being delivered to the shops. So this is a production process of a juice factory. Okay, seventh business concept is about transactions. Transactions means a trade between two parties that involve at least things of value, agreed upon conditions, a type of agreement, and a place of agreement. So you have to remember these things. For a transaction to happen, there should be at least two parties, and also there should be something of value, and there should be a agreement and a place of agreement. So that is how the transactions happens. Okay, eighth one is about satisfaction. The buyer chooses between different offerings based on quality, service, and price. The most values are reflected. Satisfaction reflects a person's judgment of a product and observe outcomes in relation to expectations. You all know that as students of commerce, you all know for economics you do uh, about substitute products, substitute goods. Substitute goods are the various type of goods that you have in order to satisfy your needs. Find various. If we consider, let's say you want milk powder, there are various types of milk powders, milk powder packets in the market. Anchor, Ratti, Maliban, uh, Ambewala, Palavatta, there are various types of milk powder packets in the market. Satisfaction means, now let's say you are drinking Palavatta, and if you are highly satisfied, that is your judgment. And if let's say that if you are drinking something else, if you are not being satisfied, that means that is also your judgment. So how much you are being satisfied by the products that are being offered is known as satisfaction. Okay, then the ninth one is exchange. This is a bit important because this concept is a bit important because exchange is all about business. Business is all about exchanging. Fine, you exchange cash to buy products. So exchange is one important concept in business. Exchange is a method available for an individual or an organization to obtain a product or a service. Other ways of obtaining them are producing goods of one's ownership or purchasing or by stealing for them. An exchange can occur between two persons in whatever the ways they want, depending on the availability of facilities. Exchange is the process of obtaining a desired product from someone by offering something in return for the value. So, as I said, exchange means you are exchanging. There should be at least two parties for an exchange to happen, and it's a method available for an individual or even for an organization to obtain a product or value in return for something which is valuable. Fine. So there are few basic features that should be existing for an exchange to happen. That is, the first thing is there should be minimum two parties involved for an exchange to happen. Second one is each individual party must possess something of value. Let's say that you and me, we are going to do a transaction, we are going to exchange something. I also should have something invaluable, and you also should have something invaluable. Then only we can exchange. Now let's say you are having an expensive watch and I have money to buy that, then I'm paying you that money and I'm getting that. So two parties are involved, and at least two parties should involve, and also there should be something of value, and all parties have the right to accept or reject of exchange. That is, if I have the ability to reject your wash, okay, if I want, then I have the ability to accept it if you are willing to sell it, and also you have the ability to accept the amount that I'm paying. And if you don't want that amount, and if you want even higher amount for your watch, then Putta, you can reject my payment. So that is what is being said in third point. Okay, fourth one, it says all parties should be able to communicate and transfer of their possessors. That is, if we both are going to make an exchange, then both of us should be able to communicate to each other, and also there should be a way to transfer the possess or the values that we have. All parties must rely on the suitability of doing transactions with other parties. That is, I must agree to do the transaction with you. Fine. So that is basically exchange. So you have to remember the basic features. in order for an exchange to occur. So there are five. That is, the first one is there should be minimum two parties, and each party should have something in value, and all the parties have the ability to accept or reject the exchange, and both the parties or all the parties should be able to communicate and transfer their possessors, and all the parties must rely on the suitability of doing transactions with other parties. The final concept that we're going to talk about is value. This is usefulness of a product or service expressed in terms of money or certain quantity of some other goods or services by a consumer. The consumer compare the benefits derived from a product or service with a product and a service with price. So consumer value is equals to benefit divided by cost. How much you're being benefited by the particular product that you have been using for the cost that you have paid or for the price that you have paid. That is known as value. Okay, so today we discussed about 10 different types of business concepts: needs, wants, market, demand, transactions, exchange, product, satisfaction, value, and there's another one more, and I think you know what it is. What is it? Production process. Yes. Then now we know what our needs, what are wants, and the examples for each of them. And also I gave a brief definition of what is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we spoke about the differences between needs and wants, and what is the marketplace. Now you know what it is, and the two main factors in which demand is depending on, and what is transactions and how does it take place, what is exchange, what are the key features of an exchange to take place, then what is a product, how can we classify a product, and about satisfaction and value, and how to calculate the value of a product. Now we know them, and I hope you understood the lesson. So I'm going to stop the lesson for today. I'll come up with the third lesson, unit 1, from the next video. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to me.